@𝐸_83. Hello, Mr. Professor. I'm going to send you an email after this. Good evening, good evening, good evening. How's everybody doing? Happy Thursday to you as well. Hello, @Teddy_. Good evening. How are you? The IG people are starting. What happened? No, we just came on actually. So we didn't you get a notification? Or no? Yes, no. Hi, hey TikTok family. What's going on, people? I don't know why this feels like it's far off. Okay. Y'all want to be far away. Let's see. Olive Beauty Empire. Good evening. I am me for you. Good evening. Akinsoji. Akinsoji. I guess Yummy Akinsoji. Listen, y'all just put these names together. Okay, I'll come on. You're around Nikki. My child, my help. Lady underscore B011. Hello, Miss Peggy. Good evening, Ayodele. Along for me. Is that what it is? Along for me. Along for me. What does that mean? God has my back. I, Let me just leave it alone. Hello, God's favorite. Oh, no notification, sorry. But we just got on actually like 2 minutes ago. Because I was rounding up basketball. Y'all, for the most part, someone, and I do appreciate that, but someone had reached out to my office and spoke with us. And like, what happened? She didn't come on. That was yesterday. So, because we didn't have live on Tuesday. Like, she didn't come on. She just left messages. That's because we are in basketball season, y'all. And so, if for the most part, if we're going to be rescheduling live, or if there's no live on a Tuesday or Thursday, that most likely is because my son has a basketball game, and I gotta be there. Like, for those home games, I usually try to go. Not usually, I'm there. I'm there. But for away games, they would do it on. They have a YouTube channel, so that helps a lot. Talking of my son, here he is. Hey, T. Hello, T. What do you do? Hello, TJ. We didn't win today, but my son played his heart out. Y'all need to go on YouTube and just watch him play. It's just, but then again, it's my child. So there you have it. Anyway, like how about sorry Joy? I don't look tired. I'm not tired. I'm not sure what you're looking at, but I'm fine. But anyway, welcome. This is Attorney Abisola Adebola Olale. I'm an immigration attorney based in Alabama, representing immigration clients in all 50 states. If you've got an immigration case, if it's a case that we do to include citizenship, family-based green card, employment green card, removal of conditions, asylum, some immigration court cases. But the best practice, because sometimes we have people schedule consultation and then they find out that it's not something I do anymore. So the best practice is call our office and, we will let you know. Our website actually has all the types of immigration cases that we take. But when in doubt, call our office, speak to Ashanti. She'll be more than happy to let you know if it's something that we do. And yes, if you need to schedule a consultation with us, go on our website, which is the fastest way, olalayalawfirm.com, or you can send an email to info@olalayalawfirm.com. WhatsApp, our office number on WhatsApp is our office number, which is 334-341-4475. TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn. What am I missing? At Olale Immigration, we'll be glad to represent you in representing your immigration case. Let's talk immigration, y'all. So, there's always something. There's always something. One thing that, if we got 1 week without something from this administration, then the rapture is yellow, most likely. But, if you're a Jesus girl or Jesus boy, and you're still here, then most likely your rapture hasn't happened. But let's talk about it. So yesterday, was it yesterday? I think it was yesterday, either Monday or yesterday, Tuesday or yesterday. Y'all have been hearing about this gold green card. Have you been hearing? I mean, they've been talking about it for a while. And so, hey, Miss Abena, how are you? Omalaya04, I love that. So if you've been hearing about that, it is upon us now. Gold green card. So what we're talking about tonight, let's buy a green card. I'm telling you, it's always let's buy a green card. That's what we're talking about tonight. So you get a green card. You get a green card. But seriously, now? Okay, I'll get to the question I want answered. But here is the thing. This administration is finding ways to deport people, but then you now have a way for people to quote unquote buy a green card, because that's basically what it is. So let's run down this gold green card thing. Right now, so USCI has released this form I-140G, immigrant petition for the gold card program. That's what they called it. Right now, it's not something you can just go and down and fill out the form, and because the form is available. That's the form I-140G. But you can't paper. There's no paper filing for it right now, as of right now. And before you can actually file, which you would have to do through your USCIS account, that you have to register. So so you have to first register on trumpcard.gov. This doesn't feel like the United States anymore. Is it just me, or this doesn't feel like the United States anymore for real? Anyway, if you have questions, put it in the comment section and get the questions at the end of the topic. So first, I have to register on trumpcard.gov. They review your registration, and once it's accepted, USCIS will not notify you that you can go ahead and file your petition. So you can do either a self-petition or have an organization sponsor the beneficiary, the applicant. Application, so that it's a public form. However, the access to the application process has not been made public. It's something that you have to be. It's like trying to apply, not even trying. That's what it's like. It's like applying to a country club that is just for the elites. And they have to tell you, based on how much you have and your status, whether or not you can actually be part of the country club. That's basically what this feels like. Okay, so fees. There will be the filing fee or the application fee, which is non-refundable. It's going to be $15,000 per person. We'll try not to marry any, because this is funny. But on the most serious note, $15,000 per person. So if someone is applying and they have a spouse and they have a child that is under the age of 21, that child can apply, their spouse can apply, but each person would have to pay $15,000. That's the USCIS filing fee, which obviously we know USCIS filing fees are not refundable. Then there's also mandatory federal gift. It's a non-refundable gift to the United States in order for you to get this gold green card. So if you are an individual applicant, one person, your self-petitioner rather, you pay $1 million to the United States. Now, whether or not it's going into the U.S. to the U.S. government itself, or it's going into pockets of people, I guess that's yet to be seen. We'll see. But this is what it says. So $15,000 filing fee for each person. And then a self-petitioning applicants would gift the United States $1 million if a corporation is sponsoring the applicant. Then the gift to the United States has to be $2 million. I'm trying not to laugh because it's funny, but it's not. Sometimes you can't laugh. Well, you can cry, you laugh. That kind of situation. But anyway, let's keep going. So each person pays one, and it's self-petitioner pays $1 million. Corporation that's sponsoring an applicant pays $2 million, and then either of those two categories, each dependent will pay an additional $1 million to the U.S. government. Okay, So obviously, if you're a family of 4, a family of 3, a family of 10, you just know. Yeah. So this is about to be as expensive as it can possibly get when it comes to immigration applications. Now, Congress, US Congress is responsible for implementing any type of visa category. That is not for the executive branch of government, which the president's office is. It is the Congress that makes the laws in the United States. And part of the laws being made is the Immigration and Nationality Act. In order for a law to be amended or additional laws to be added, it has to be the US Congress doing that. This administration is claiming that they're not implementing a new visa application process. They're claiming that it is still part of the EB1, EB2, basically extraordinary ability and national interest waiver applications, because they claim it is of national benefit. So stay with me here. So the government obviously will screen you. When they screen you and they accept you into this program, then they send you a notice, an invitation to submit the I-140G, pay the fees, and then pay the gift. Then they're claiming that those applicants will still have to show that they qualify or they meet the standard of the EB1, EB2, NIW. So basically, NIWs or either national interest waiver, either under the EB1 or EB2. It's just that this is for the, for the reach. Those, because I'm not really sure why, in God's name, I would be paying $1 million to get a green card. But I guess some people, and truthfully, some people just have it. Some people will give you gifts. Listen, if you and about money, any kind of person, then don't give to $1 million. Please sign me up. Because, like I told my parents one time, Bisola means child born in wealth. I'm still trying to figure out the wealth, because I work my butt off. So maybe the wealth is about to come somehow. Someone should sponsor me. But anyway, they will do security and background checks. They're claiming that it is comparable to the NIW process. It is not. I can tell you that because I do, EB1. Well, I don't do EB1 anymore. EB2 for the most part. It's not. That is where you have to show a lot of qualifications. You're not paying the U.S. government for a green card and all that. Anyway, so that's that in a nutshell. And then this is where it becomes an issue, because they're claiming that it's not a new law. They're not implementing a different visa category. That's what it is. Now, the question is, where do these visa numbers come from? Because keep in mind, unless you are an immediate relative, everything else is under what we call preference category for visas. Meaning, if you're not a U.S. citizen spouse or U.S. citizens under 21 child, or your U.S. citizen's parent, then the visa bulletin applies to you. So and for each visa category, the U.S. Congress has already allotted a specific amount of visas for each of those categories. And for employment categories, for instance, there's already backlog in the employment category. So this is going to fall under the EB1 or EB2 categories, primarily EB2. And for right now, because there is a new fiscal year, we saw quite a bit of progression with the EB2 category, where a lot of people that have been waiting. Hello, Mr. Kelvin. They've been waiting for their priority date to become current, have now been able to file for the green cards. This is now going to create even much more backlog, because the plan with this gold green card is that the visa numbers that have already been allotted and allocated to the EB1, EB2 category will be part of the numbers they will use for this gold green card. So they will be taking a number of those visas and apply it to those who want to buy the green card. And that basically is going to not create in those, especially EB2 category, where we've already seen, like for over a year, nothing was, if anything, was regressing. Then now we see a little bit of progression. What's going to happen now is it's going to even create much more backlog, because now you're taking visa numbers from a category that's already has shortage already, just because you want to satisfy a particular group of people. So if you are willing to let the high and mighty come into the United States, as long as they give, they buy the green card. So that makes more sense to this administration than to allow people who are fleeing their countries, who are looking for better opportunities, whose kids, a lot of people's kids are already citizens, and they're just trying to work hard and make ends meet so they can take care of their family. But those ones are the ones that need to be deported. Those ones are the quote unquote criminals. Make it make sense. So, but don't shoot the messenger. I'm just giving the message. That is what they're claiming. So let's go buy a green card. That's what we are buying green cards now. We are buying green cards now. The US government is selling green cards. Now, do we, I mean, they're claiming the fund to be, controlled by the Department of Treasury, Department of Commerce. Do we expect that there may be lawsuits? Primarily because this really, truth be told, this really is just them creating a different type of immigration classification, which the U.S., the executive branch does not have the authority to do. This is for Congress. But obviously, we have people in Congress who are so afraid of this person in power, or they need him to be able to have a re-election. I just don't know. Or maybe they just, my mom used to say the same. Sunday for something crazy like that. Like, it's crazy. But that's what it is in a nutshell. And now people can buy, and I use that word loosely, but that's basically what it is. People can buy a green card if you have the money to do that. And they claim that if you're able to prove that you have the qualifications that justify it being issued to your national benefit, they're not even saying anything about, filing. What are you going to submit? What are you going to submit? Are you going to submit an uncertified perm application from Department of Labor? What exactly? But that's what we're seeing. That's what we're seeing. Yeah. So that's all she wrote. When we get more additional information regarding this, we will share it. But that's basically that. That's all she wrote, people. I'm trying really hard not to laugh. But this is hilarious. It is funny. But it is sad at the same time, because you've got a lot of people who, this is the country they've known for many, many years, some decades, and being deported to countries they've never been to. And now you create let me not say what I was going to say. But anyway, let's get to questions. Let's get to questions. Let's leave it alone. So let's buy a green card. You get a green card. You get a green card. You get a green card. That's it. All right. Let's see. Hello, Miss Evil Proud. How are you? Hello, Mr. Joel. How are you doing? I always forget to tell you my son's middle name is Joel. Oluwatoshe Joel. So if y'all were wondering, what does TJ stand for? Toshe Joel. Hello, Mr. Tola. How are you? Okay. Responses to your questions are general in nature, nothing specific to anyone's case, just general information. If you want something more tailored, more specific to your case, we'll be glad to meet with you over a paid consultation. If you need to do that, go on our website, olalayalawfirm.com, or send a text message to my assistant Lydia on WhatsApp. Go on our website, olalayalawfirm.com, send a text message 334-341-4475. Same number. We do not take calls on WhatsApp. If you need to talk to someone, you have to call that number directly. Just start getting questions like, do you listen, try not to laugh, but we'll be glad to represent you. Do immigration check the entry of green card holders at the port of entry? Does immigration check the entry of green card holders at the port of entry at the airport when applying for citizenship? Does immigration check the entry of green card holders at the port of entry? I'm not really sure I understand your question, Udochukwu, but anyone, any non-citizen is subject to additional inspection at the port of entry, including green card holders. And if anything, they just released a policy not too long ago that there will be additional biometrics and fingerprinting and all that being done at the port of entry for everyone except citizens. So I'm not sure if that answers your question because I really don't understand what you're asking. Okay. Hey, TikTok family. What's going on? Let's see. Can I get on? Get. I got a question. Okay, what's your question, Racy? What's your question? What can be used to expedite an immigration case? It would just depend on your facts. Primarily, you expedite immigration applications based on humanitarian grounds or hardship reasons, or someone being in the military. Military actually qualifies for expedited. So it just depends. Good evening. I know it's early, but Merry Christmas from the Akas. Good evening, Ghanaian wife. Thank you. It's not early. Christmas is less than 2 weeks, right? Actually, Christmas is exactly 2 weeks from today. Can you imagine? Like, I think we got to September and it was like, okay, we got to go. This year's got to go. And really, it's got to go. Because I remember September, now we're in December, almost exactly 2 weeks from Christmas. Yeah. You know, as your kids get older, I want to say the list gets shorter, right? Isn't it? Or they're Chris. No, when my kids were much younger, there. And by the way, y'all, thank you so much for all the birthday wishes and prayers for my oldest kid. Y'all have a full-fledged adult living under my roof now. My oldest son turned 21 last Saturday, SJ. I cannot even. It got 21. Like, where did the time go? Where did the time go? I have like full-fledged adults now. So all the prayers of birthday wishes and just very, very thoughtful of everyone. So thank you. Very much appreciated. He felt loved. He was celebrated. He's my low maintenance kid. TJ's probably still watching. But yeah, your brother is the low maintenance. I have another high maintenance kid who shall be nameless, but I have 2 kids, so go figure. Yeah, so it's not too early to say Merry Christmas to you and your family as well. I haven't, please don't repeat questions. I have a 10-year green card, but from a country that is part of the 19 countries. Can I travel? Anything about travel? Direct those questions to your attorney or schedule a proper paid consultation with an attorney. So I've said it several times. I don't answer travel questions on here. I'm filing for my son who schools in India. Should he do consular processing in India or Nigeria? If it's just so USCIS, the Department of State actually released a policy that you would only be able to. So if you are applying for an immigrant or non-immigrant visa, you're only going to be able to apply for your visa in the country where you have your nationality or you've got permanent residency. So that answers your question there. What happens when he leaves the office? Is the Trump gold card still valid? Well, I guess the first question really is it even going to is it going to even go? Will people file lawsuits to have injunctions in place to halt the program? I'm hoping that that's what happens because this is ridiculous. I mean, this is basically creating a visa category with and bypassing Congress. But then again, it's a Republican-led Congress, so they ain't gonna say anything anyway. But I'm hopeful that people would file lawsuits, and so this craziness just is halted altogether. In the event that nobody is brave enough to do that, and it goes on, and people actually, so if that happens, then the next president, hopefully Democrat, will um, will be able to stop it. I mean, if nobody stops him now, and they say he can, then that the same law would apply to the next president. Okay, can I travel to anything about travel? Like I said, I'm not answering that question. Uh, I had family based interview in New York on September 25th. Still processing. Do I have a problem? I can't tell you if you have a problem because I have no information about your case. How long does it take when mother files for a married son? It takes a while. So if you go on, like if you go and Google visa bulletin, and it would give you the category. I think that category is F3. Don't quote me on that. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick. So yeah, married son of a U.S. citizen. I want to talk. I assume that the mother filing for the married son is a citizen because only citizens can file for the married children. F3 category depends on, for you. For instance, mine is set to USCIS, and USCIS is working on cases that were received in the embassy. It's about the same thing. Embassy is like actually they were working the same date. Cases that were received or when the I-130 was filed as of, and it has to be approved anyway, as of July 22nd, 2012. So that's 13 years. Yeah. Okay. What's your advice for someone who got an I-140 denied? Speak to an attorney. I naturalized in 2005. Am I at risk? At risk of what? At risk for what? Okay. How much do you like? How much do you like what you do? If you can't tell how much I like what I do, then I'm not really sure how to answer that question. But is it good to still apply for adjustment of status? Absolutely. The other option is to risk every day, not knowing if you're going to, God forbid, you meet with someone or you get stopped for a traffic violation and then you find yourself in detention. You want to have an application for relief if that ever happens. Do you help people on visa processing from Nigeria? The only thing we do outside the country are for those who are applying for immigrant visas. So their I-130s have been approved, and they're starting the. That even reminds me. I was supposed to. That you actually were doing something. Okay. Are all green cards on hold right now? It may seem like that, but it's not. They're still approving cases, especially for those who are not from those, quote unquote countries of concern. I have EAD combination with I-131. Want to travel to South Africa. Like I said, I'm not answering anything about. Okay. Why is everybody trying to travel? Where y'all going? Where y'all going? I mean, why is it's just too risky. But hey, to each their own. What is the parole stamp on the passport if one traveled with an AP that you paroled in? Does it mean once the date expires, one has to leave the country? No, that's not what it just means. You're being paroled in. That's basically what it means. Doesn't it take for Supreme Court justice to accept it? So does this mean This means for justice, police, and the government has a case on. DKJ232, can you rephrase your question? Is it okay to apply for a green card? Yes. Yeah, there's a whole lot going on. Yeah, 5-year work permit is now reduced to 18 months for most people. So basically, that means that everyone, you would have to be renewing your work permit every year, because keep in mind you can renew it 6 months before the expiration. And so if you're giving it for probably even less than a year, because by the time they even approve it, it's probably you're closer to filing a renewal of another one. It's just anyway. It is what it is, y'all. Okay, let's see. Frankie Fingers. Mike, it was wonderful. God's favorite. How was yours? Hello, Hunter Head. How are you? CJ Joel, I hope you're on your way home. Max Z112, how are you? Once we see notifications that there's no live, we know it's for a reason. Yeah, for the most part, it's my baby boy. Ishawa, Tijiwa, and his brother. Yes, they're both doing well. Thank you for asking. How long does working permit take from marriage? USCIS.gov/processing time to know how long these things are taking to in processing times for things. Hello, Miss Avena. I'm telling you, when I tell you that I had so many compliments on my jumpsuit on Saturday, and it was like, because everyone's wearing, it's winter, so everyone is wearing things in dark colors, and so I show up at dinner for my son in uh is what's the difference between Adire and Ankara? It was one of the two that Mr. Bennett sent, which was really nice. Oh, okay, your mama, which tell her I said thank you. But if it's just, I mean, you would have thought that they actually got my measurement. Fits like a glove. So, and they're like, where did you get it? Like, well, it's custom made, and truly it is. Okay, let's see. That's a bad question. USA be feeling like a family business lately. I'm telling you. Um, it is well. Let's see. Don't laugh. I mean, if you can't cry, what would you? Your bell will say "Kuburu." Well, there's a whole lot I want to say, but listen. All this after paying 2 million. I shouldn't be laughing, but hey, extortion of the highest order. Hmm. 3-letter agency should be going after people that subscribe. Well, no, they don't go after the rich and famous. They don't. They go after the people who really are ones who need the help. No, I mean, that a lot of us pay more taxes than billionaires pay. That's just the truth. So I submitted my I-45 for my VI case since May of this year. I have not received the notice until now. Should I reapply because I really need the work authorization card so I can start working? There's no need to reapply. All cases that were filed up until September 18, because those cases were still filed at the Nebraska Service Center, we are seeing quite a bit of delay. We're talking upwards up to 6 months to get a receipt notice. So I will not. I just will not. I mean, just that's my recommendation. It's up to you to decide what you want to do. But if you filed in May, because I'm just thinking off the top of my head, a number of my cases we just got receipt notices and they were filed May, June. So you should be getting your receipt notice sometime soon, as long as you haven't changed your address or anything. So just be patient. That's what I would recommend. I hope they can flood their social media pages with this news. I want to see how a particular group of people hype this. I want to see too. I'm telling you. Beyond sad, I watch the news every day and just shake my head. And the thing is, what really amazes me is this. These are the same people who will tell another country that there's corruption, the government is not treating these people well, or government those in government are just after their own welfare. I mean, for instance, when you've got a president who has spent so far this year alone about 30 million tax dollars on golf, 30 million tax dollars on golf, on a hobby. Make it make sense. And then you bust into people's homes and you deport them and separate families. It is, yeah, don't even get me started. But it is well. It is well. Yeah. Golden mid green card. The golden mid. I'm a green gold. Hey, listen. Um, golden mid green card. Goes to say that the biggest crime that most immigrants committed is being poor. That's it. I mean, enough said. That's it. Can health issues help with expediting one's immigration case? It would depend on what the health issue is and if it's something that it falls within hardship or humanitarian reasons. How much do you charge for citizenship for an ex-asylee green card holder? I discuss fees in a paid consultation. Hello, sis nurse. I'm not a nurse, but we received a denial letter. They stated that they sent us a annoyed letter since March, but we didn't receive it. I logged in online to nothing was posted there. So, what's your question? Sis nurse, no, I'm fine. What's the type where I figured nurse can learn nothing about me is medical in any way. The funny thing is, everybody in my family is actually in the medical field. My older brother is a nurse, nursing director. My younger brother is a surgeon. My younger sister is a nurse practitioner. My mom is a retired nurse. I've always been I've always been that lone ranger in my family. I've always been that lone ranger in my family. So everybody, yeah. So by proxy, Adira is tie and dye. Okay, Miss Abena, which one is this one? Well, what does it look like? You know, said the photo is on my page, on my personal page. Is that tie and dye or I don't know what it is. I just know it's African material. So what if you don't have no expansion on your work permit? What is your question? What if you don't have an extension? Then what? What is the question on that? Hello, Epic Movement. How are you? Mr. Kelvin, watching in time for you. Do you advise we file to reopen? Maybe they can resend, denied, or refile. If you didn't file a motion to reopen 30 days after it was denied, when did they say it was denied? Like if it's more than 33 days by now, there's no point. Just start your case all over again. Because it's not time. Okay. Is it Ankara? I think it's beautiful. That's all I know. And it's got red in it. I was sold. And then I've got this really beautiful bracelet, like, because if I wear that bracelet to court, Miss Abena, they would think I want to take over the United States. They just got in. No, you can replay it. So we're just talking about this gold green card. and how we're seeing in real time what it feels like for the rich people to actually um to take care of their own. Yeah, I'm telling you, if I wear that bracelet and I plan because I have court day coming up next week, I'm just gonna show up and like, auntie, and like call courthouse me. Yeah, no, what you want here? I'm already. Some of my colleagues actually tell me that I walk into a room like I own it. Well, I always tell them I'm Nigerian. That's how we're raised. We don't go in and like and now. I'm all over 5 foot tall, but yeah. Did interview in August 2025 uh, for approved VAR green card. They issue VAR green cards. There's no VAR green card. In green card is green card. It just depends on your category. But people are getting their green cards. So across the board, there is delay in USCI's actually approving I-485s. Their claim is that it was sent 12 days ago. Their claim is that they're doing additional background checks. So that's where was because I even in my law firm we have quite a bit of I-130s that have been approved for months, and we're still waiting on the approval of the I-485. That's just what they're saying. So yeah. Okay, hold on, let me finish here before I move on. What do you do? What do you need to attach your normal renewal of I-90 form? Sit down with a lawyer and hire the services of one. What is your advice on working permit? It's taking 6 months to process. What do you mean? What's my advice? It was sent 12 days ago. So if the denial was just 12 days ago, then you're still within the 33 days time frame to file a motion to reopen. So but you obviously must have evidence to be able to support the fact that you never received it. If the notice wasn't sent back to them, you didn't change your address, nothing of the sort. And if you have a lawyer, and the lawyer the lawyer also got it. It would just depend on whether they believe that you received it or not. But if you're still within the 33 days since the denial, then you can file a motion to reopen. Any option for someone who has an approved I-135 by U.S. citizen parent, but the person is out of status. If you're out of status and you're over the age of 21, then really you can adjust status with that I-130. Because if you leave, you would have to, before you leave, you must have a waiver of the unlawful presence that must be approved. But if you're not, I would assume you're an adult. If you're dating, then not saying go get married for a green card, but obviously that's an option. If you're dating someone who's a citizen, they can sponsor you. But once you're out of status, options are very limited. Do you charge for consultation? Absolutely. This is my free version of consultation. What if you don't have expiration date on your green card dates? What if you don't have, and you must have one of those very, very old green cards? So what is your question on that? Don't make statements or questions. Is it normal for working permit to take 6 months to process? It's not that like what's normal or not normal. If you go on USCIS.gov/processing time, everybody can do that. If you're online with me right now, then you have access to that. Put in your category, see how long it's taken, and so if it's still within normal processing time, then it is normal based on USCIS normal processing time. Does the asylum pause apply to defensive asylum cases? I know that there's some judges that are granting asylum applications, and I also have some colleagues who are reporting that some IJs are saying they're being told to pause. So I really can't tell you yes or no. So because we have report of both scenarios happening. Okay. If an immigrant is here on authorized stay with pending I-485, why would they be detained by ICE, fully processed, and transported to a separate jail? Because an authorized stay, which is a pending application like an I-485, an asylum application, is not a status. So you having an authorized stay does not prevent DHS from placing that person in removal proceedings, and it doesn't prevent them from detaining the person. So an authorized stay is what it is. It's just an authorized stay because you're allowed to stay in the country. It is not it doesn't defer being placed in removal proceedings. It used to be that before this administration, the U.S. government just they weren't interested in wasting resources on cases on situations where people had pending cases, especially if you've got a viable case. And it used to be that we could even use like prima facie determination or pending I-130 to get people out of court, out of the removal proceedings, because it was just a waste of, and that's why we had prosecutorial discretion to just reduce the backlog and reduce and save costs. Now their goal is to put everybody in removal proceedings, regardless of whether you've got something pending. So we're seeing even cases where someone has something that is pending with USCIS. If they had a denied petition in the past from a previous case, they on that basis USCIS can actually send them to court. So an authorized something that authorizes you to stay because you know that's why you're able to use an advance word to travel and come back in. But it does not mean that someone who they suspect may have some kind of fraud or whatever issues in their history, that person can come back in with a valid advance warrant and still end up being detained and placed in removal proceedings in spite of having a pending case. So I hope that answers your question. So the Supreme Court granted certiorari because they've agreed to hear the case. They have not made a decision on the case. Does it mean there's a chance they may uphold the administration? Yes, that's what it means. So what initially the Supreme Court addressed the issue of whether or not the courts could place an injunction nationwide. So that was the initial thing that they did. But right now, they've now accepted to hear that case. That's basically what certiorari means. They've accepted to hear the case on whether or not the executive order on birthright citizenship is constitutional or not. So they're going to decide if this administration is right in the sense of if you don't fall within this categories of immigrants, or at least one parent being a citizen or one parent being a green card holder, or if now I forget the exact what is in the executive order, then if they see their way and say that not people who are not here legally cannot be subject to the jurisdiction of the United States, then they can find in favor of this government. They can, because that's the highest court of the land. If they do not think it is constitutional, it is constitutional, meaning that birthright citizenship EO is not constitutional, then things stay as they are. So that's basically what they are going to be deciding once and for all. Do I need to go to another platform to ask a question if you choose to? Because I'm not sure why people come in and ask questions. First of all, I'm not obligated to answer your question. This is something I do because we're educating ourselves. So if you decide to be rude, I will completely block you out of this forum. Okay. And I actually took time to answer your question. Then you came back with that comment. But anyway, I put in the EAD renewal online in 2024, got received notification, and 2 weeks later 2 was issued, but 1 is still yet to be approved. Any idea how much was? No idea. Let's ask questions that we can actually have answers to. As an ex-asylee green card holder, I'm not sure what you mean by ex-asylee. You probably had a pending asylum case that you withdrew. So if that's the case, you're not an ex-asylee. You were an asylum seeker. But I've traveled to Nigeria last year. Is it going to be a problem if I put AV no travel out on year during my? I'm not sure I understand your question. The Chuku. You're the same person who was here. Okay. Let's see. You're absolutely welcome. VAWA submitted in May. No receipt. What can I do? You gotta wait. I know some people were actually, there was a client of mine that decided to take matters in their hands, and when they found a new one, and so they have a, and then the receipt notices came in, and so now they have two cases, and they're trying to figure out what. Those are the kind of cases that easily I withdraw from. I don't even stress myself, because if I'm telling you something, we're not trying to hide it, but it's just unfortunately that's what we've seen, that we had to experience. Now, those who are filing their cases, all the cases we're filing now with new bar cases, we're getting the receipt notices in less than 2 weeks. But those that were still filed in the Nebraska Service Center, God knows why there was that much backlog, but that's basically what's going on. Okay, what's the time? All right, let's see. Okay. Any question? If your question is about travel and I don't read it, that's because I'm not answering the question regarding traveling. I'm not sure why everybody on TikTok is traveling. What is going on? Oh, 30 December. Okay. Mo ti ṣe fídíò pé ẹ kí n 30 December kó di regretful January, because anyway, can I try now? So no proof of entry can I file a VAC case. As long as you don't have more than one unlawful entry, then generally yes. Is it safe to travel? I feel my 10 green card. Is it safe for me to travel? I thought my I-751 based on abuse, later divorce. Do I need to file another I-751 based on divorce? You do not. You can send your divorce decree to USCIS and ask them to add or to include the divorce waiver. You don't need to file another one. Well, USCIS still approved green card if you're one of the countries on the list. They've already said they're going to put a pause on that because they're going to re-examine all cases. So there is actually a pause on those countries of concern. Yes, and then there was, there were some people who were going to be sworn in as citizens, but because they're from one of the 19 countries, they actually canceled their oath ceremony. It's that crazy. Would you suggest a K1 visa or marry outside the US? Yeah, the K1 will get your fiance here faster than the spousal visa right now. But the best thing for you and your fiance to do will be to sit down with the lawyer to figure out what the best option would be. Okay. FA at 413. There was no reason for you to repeat your question like 7 times. How long into how long? I'm guessing that your VAL receipt. So it's been 3 months now. So that tells you you've filed before the new filing locations. Just be patient. It's taking a while. Just be patient. Okay. Should one be worried if hearing has been postponed? I couldn't tell you because I don't know the facts of your case. Generally, that's usually not a concern, but it would just depend on the facts of your case. My green card interview is coming up, and I overstayed my visa. What's your advice on it? Go with a lawyer. Even if you, God forbid, get detained, at least your lawyer knows who to contact, what happens, and all that. But there's no let's see. Don't have any time for this kind of nonsense. If you decide to be a troll, you will be trolled out. Okay, bye. Okay, let's see. Six years VAR, no updates, no RFE. So what's your question? Can a grandparent take their grandkids to the embassy to apply for the visas? Usually I have cases like that, and I tell the parents to give consent or power of attorney of some sort, or some kind of guardianship if they're the ones taking care of the child back home. I have a friend who used my credit for their house for a year. Until now, they haven't removed it. So, what's your question? What does that have to do with immigration? Okay. Okay. All right. All right, people. Okay. Thank you. You're welcome. All right. I've answered that question. Can one get married immediately if they came in with a B2 visa? That's going to be very highly suspicious. I mean, if they don't file immediately, that's okay. But I mean, unless you had disclosed that you're coming to get married, I mean, unless the person surprised you with a proposal and it would just depend. It would just really, but filing immediately is going to be a red flag, and you may be, um, they may allege misrepresentation if you do that. So if you're not sure, you may want to sit down with a lawyer. I did my green card interview this year. I did not hear anything from USCIS until now. What's your advice? You can contact USCIS, get an update on your case. If you have a lawyer on your case, talk to your lawyer and see what your lawyer tells you. You may want to reach out to any of your senators or congressperson and see if they can get additional information about the status of your case. But there's just a whole lot of backlog. And you have to understand, y'all, that this administration is not they're not in a hurry to approve green cards. Are green cards still being approved? Absolutely. So it's not like we're no longer in that era of interview waiver. It's just what it is now. Any little thing they have an excuse to have additional policies. We just take it one day at a time. But in spite of that, God remains in control. I was talking to someone today that, because he reached back out to me again, because we had met before, and he was worried about his green card, and it was like, okay, I think I'm not sure about my documents. Should I withdraw my case and all that? And I said, no, let them come back and tell you there's an issue, but until then, just leave it in God's hands, right? And then he reached back out and told me, like, I just wanted to let you know that, the advice you gave me, I was afraid I stuck to it, but just reaching out to let you know my green card has now been approved. In spite of what it may look, and I say that to say this, in spite of what the situation may look like, your surroundings, whatever it is that it may look like around you, in spite of what laws man wants to make, God remains in control. God remains in control. So there's so much that we're just, we wake up each day and there's always one thing or the other. That's what it seems like. And that's what it is to an extent. But because there is no one on the surface of this earth that spoke themselves into existence, everyone is living on borrowed time with the breath of God. And because he remains in control, he will direct those who are going to make decisions on anything concerning us. He will direct them in the way he so chooses. They can make laws till Jesus comes back, literally, but God remains in control. So this, we come together so you can be informed, know what information is there, know what precautions you may need to take regarding your case. But do not let fear cripple your faith, because that's where you now begin to accept defeat. And you cannot have faith accept defeat, and faith and defeat don't go together. You got to stick to one. And if you have faith that God is going to do all that he has promised that he would do, and he has spoken it concerning you, then it has to be done. So if you hear nothing else this whole evening, know one thing: in spite of everything that is going on, God remains in control. I'll see you guys next week.